Today I want to talk about the Dandelion Dynasty series. You may have heard of it, and there are a lot of people who talk about the first couple of books and gave up pretty early because they weren't a fan, but I want to tell you why I think this is one of the greatest series I've ever read. So I can't decide yet whether this is at the same level as Malzahn Books of the Fallen or Terra Ignota because I've read both of those series twice, and to fully decide whether it ranks among those my two favorites of all time, I have to read the series again. But the final two books are 1,800 pages combined, so that's not happening right away. But I will get to it at some point and let you know whether I think it's that good. But before we get started, I want to start with the definition because we talk about a lot epic fantasy. And so I want to discuss the question of what makes a series epic. Is it the quality of the core characters, the distance traveled on the journey, the number of characters, or something else? Because Lord of the Rings, we all think about, is known for the distance traveled. But if you think about it, what's the point of an epic journey if we don't care about the characters? One type of an epic tale is a story that spans generations. Dandelion Dynasty is at its core a tale of the descendants of Kunigaru, as they mixed with the Ryukyu. While other well-known series may have larger casts, few have such generational depth. This is something that is more common with the big epic historical fantasy of Ken Follett and others. This review covers both The Veiled Throne and Speaking Bones because they were written as a single massive book. And this also contains some spoilers for the first two books in the series, as is inescapable when describing the last and final books of a series. However, I'm trying my best to keep the spoilers minor, and you should know that I don't think that seeing these spoilers will impact your enjoyment of the series one bit. So by the end of The Wall of Storms, Book 2, the Ryukyu appear to have won and subjugated the people of Dara. But because Dara is so large, they only occupy part of the land in the island of Dara. The Veiled Throne sets up this dynamic and the various players who are preparing for war. Throughout the Veiled Throne, we are constantly reminded that the Wall of Storms will reopen soon, allowing a renewed wave of invasion from the Ryukyu. Despite being almost entirely backstory, the Veiled Throne is engaging because of the children of Kunigaru who anchor the plot. Rather than ending with an epic battle, Ken Liu spends the final portion of the Veiled Throne on a cooking competition. Yes, you heard correctly, a cooking competition. Though it is hard to grasp initially, suffice it to say, this is very relevant to the story in Speaking Bones. Speaking Bones is 44 hours long in audiobook format and over 1,000 pages in print. And yet I finished it in around 2 weeks. This is because it moves much more quickly than the Veiled Throne. We now have our footing, and there are only a few characters yet to be introduced. So for those of you who have difficulty following giant casts of characters and getting your head around all the names, well, you don't have to learn a lot new of characters by the end of the third book. There are many battles in Speaking Bones, along with big reveals, political machinations, and new marvels of engineering. Throughout, Ken Liu reminds us of the importance of empathy through the idea of mutage. I was blown away by the care with which Liu orchestrated the ending and the emotion that came with it. The audiobook moved me to tears at least 3 times, and that's only counting the final book. Having finished Speaking Bones, the Dandelion Dynasty now ranks among my favorite series of all time, along with Malzahn Books of the Fallen and Terra Ignota. It handles the clash of nations with care and nuance and reminds us of our shared humanity. Many tales would have ended with the occupation of a foreign invader, but Liu explores the difficulties of holding on to a territory and the ways in which the two peoples are drawn together and also push each other apart. I read the entire series in audiobook format, and I want to add some additional praise for the reader, Michael Kramer. He has read such popular series as The Wheel of Time and many of Brandon Sanderson's different series. His performance was especially enjoyable and brought the characters to life and added an emotional depth that elevated my experience. Despite the broad cast of characters, they each felt distinct. The Dandelion Dynasty series, to me, is one of the greatest epic fantasy series I have ever read, and one of the greatest completed series that I have finished. Though it doesn't have the broader scope of Malazan, the generational span of time covered in the 4 books more than makes up for that. If by the end of Wall of Storms you can't wait to see what happens to Thera, Timu, and others, don't miss the opportunity to dive into the grand finale. This series touched my heart and inspired me and made me a better person. I think it will inspire you and make you a better person as well, or if nothing else, you'll have a fun time along the way. So I hope you will join me and let me know what you think about the Dandelion Dynasty series, and don't listen to anybody who tells you that it's not worth your time, because I can tell you it definitely is. So I hope you enjoy, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because I want to do more books reviews talking about books by authors of color, because they need all the help they can get. So if you like this series, go write a review, because for some reason the ratings are still low and we want to work on that. So hope you enjoy and have a great day.